Welcome to Urban Youth. This special edition celebrates Pride Month and gives a nod to the World Cup, with stories about advocacy, alumni success, CUNY voices in soccer, and more. But first, we fire off the episode with a look back at the ongoing work of the CUNY LGBTQI Advocacy Academy and the opportunities it gives students to turn advocacy into real-world impact.
The percentage of Americans that identify as queer doubled over the last 10 years. But despite that, only 4 states mandate that public schools teach LGBTQ+ history. And on top of that, only 20% of public schools actually implement positive representations of the community in their curricula. However, CUNY has been pushing the needle forward, thanks in large part to the LGBTQ+ Advocacy Academy, which was founded by philanthropist Mitch Drazen with the purpose of inspiring CUNY LGBTQ+ students to be future leaders and advocates in their respective fields. In fact, Baruch College sophomore Jack Lehane and recent Hunter graduate Ratkiewicz
This could be the outro.
were both part of the original cohort.
For me, I was also part of the Roosevelt Scholar Program, which is the public policy program at Hunter College. And again, just to emphasize that Hunter has been to me, a safe space for queer people. So I received that as part of a newsletter, just of opportunities for students. So I was very lucky that that was just included in my program.
Yeah, and I mentioned earlier, but I literally Googled CUNY LGBTQ, and that was the first thing that popped up. The Student Leadership and Initiative website. I clicked on it, went to the Advocacy Academy, applied, didn't think I was going to get in as a freshman. They accepted me, thankfully.
And with that, Jack and Ella garnered a whole new perspective on the queer experience that celebrates success and joy in the community.
For us, it was more so a kind of lecture style where we would be hearing from queer politicians. We spoke with the man who started the first GSA in the States.
And when I look around our nation right now, I'm afraid because it feels to me like we are going backwards.
Basically, the whole point was to experience queer people in different spheres. And then we got to interact with them, ask them questions. But I think the main goal was to learn about our history, learn about our culture, and to also understand that queer people exist everywhere and they're successful everywhere. And it was a very hope-centered course.
Eric Marcus was definitely my favorite guest. He was the Making Gay History. He has a book and podcast.
Queer people as a community have continually survived the worst and looked out for our own. And as a man without a real family to fall back on, gives me pride in the strength of my chosen family.
Any queer people listening to this, check out Eric Marcus, check out Kevin Jennings.
Kevin Jennings was amazing.
Yeah.
And with that also came the hope and confidence needed to not only excel in their career, but also inspire others to embrace their identity through that.
I came to Baruch to study finance, study business, hopefully pursue a career in the private sphere. But for me now, I'm thinking a lot about beyond that, what do I want to do? How do I want to spend my time and involvement beyond a career? And really that has been thinking about how am I going to, again, pave the way back for underrepresented groups within the LGBTQIA+ community. And, is that going to be through nonprofit work, involvement in nonprofits, or just, direct advocacy work? Because I do not see my career solely being a corporate office job where I don't have some impact on the community. I feel like it's, again, always needed. We have anti-trans legislation happening across the US. Like, it's still a need, and it's still something that's on top of mind all the time.
And also just the fact that all these people were so open made me feel just very comfortable to be myself. Like the way that, it was literally over Zoom, but our conversations and the way we laughed and greeted each other was just so open, and you knew that you were in a space where every person loved who they were, which is so important.
Or they were learning.
Or they were learning, or they were young and freshmen and in the process.
And with that in mind, Ella and Jack had some advice for the next LGBTQ+ Advocacy Academy cohort.
I would say take notes. You are being exposed to a really interesting opportunity where you're being put in front of genuinely important people. Take notes and remember what they say to you, and reach out to them afterwards and get their contact information and really use it as a networking opportunity, because You're in New York and you have the opportunity to be everywhere with these people, so take advantage of it.
Yeah, I mentioned being able to meet classmates, CUNY mates through the program. Stay in contact with the students surrounding you, whether they're graduates and they're way, way, way older than you or they're freshmen, you know, keep in contact.
For Urban U, I'm Hannah Kavanagh.
Dear CUNY, I don't know of any other school that runs its city like you, that paints its town with its face like you. Everywhere I turn, every building is a student. Every train car is a classroom. Every leader I need already lives in me. Every philosopher I know wears a tote bag and hangs out at my library. My favorite scriptures are those I have to reserve using my school library's website. But at least the only loan I've acquired is at my school library. The only debt I owe is to them, to you all, the magnificent holders of knowledge, you all who remind me to dream just like our city lights, to be that kind of impossible. This poem is for everything that keeps a boat floating, for the makers and shakers, for the thinkers, the dreamers, for those of us who dare.
Hi everyone, I'm Isabel Ortiz and welcome to Next Gen CUNY, where we spotlight CUNY changemakers who are breaking barriers in their careers and in their communities. Today I have the pleasure of sitting down with a Lehman College alum who at 12 years old moved from El Salvador to New York City and since then has been using theater, community organizing, and social media to spark change here and back at home. With all that being said, I am thrilled to welcome Fridda Fernandez.
Hi, Isabel. Thank you so much for having me.
Hi, Fridda. Thank you so much for being here. I am so excited to talk to you today and to hear more about your journey. So like I mentioned, you immigrated from El Salvador to New York City at 12 years old. That must have been a huge transition for you.
You know, when you are 12, it's such a formative year for a teenager. I actually, when I came, I went to 7th grade. And I went to an ESL middle school. So it was really nice to have people who were on the same journey as me. Also, it made learning English not so intimidating because we all were in the same boat. And then also in middle school, 7th grade, I learned about theater. And that really gave me community and that gave me a whole new world of possibilities, to be honest.
Yeah. And you mentioned that you are a theater lover.
I am.
I'm sure that's still to this day. Because now you actually work for the People's Theater, and you are a participant in that. Could you tell me a little bit exactly what the People's Theater is?
Yeah, so the People's Theater, so far we have been a nomad organization. We are about to open the center, our own space, so that's very exciting. But we make theater, basically. We make theater, not just your regular Romeo and Juliet and Shakespeare. No, we make device theater. That means we get a group of people in the room and then the outcome is a show based on everyone's experiences. I've been in a lot of roles within the organization. So I met Mino and the People's Theater when I was in 7th grade. It was, for me at that point, it was all about theater because I loved theater so much. I went to a musical theater high school. I learned about dancing, singing, and acting.
Triple threat.
Yes. I was like, okay, maybe doing theater is not really my thing. So I went more into the other aspect of the People's Theater. So I went more into human rights and advocacy and and being an activist.
But at Lehman College, you studied history, human rights, and peace studies.
Yes.
That's all three interesting topics. How did that area of study all come to be?
I think it has a lot to do with my immigrant experience. You know, being from El Salvador, I was aware of inequalities, and I was aware of just the difference in between the countries and like how life is here versus over there. And I think that made me just like, it made me want to do something about it. And in my head, I see it history more as like the context, and then the human rights is more like the action step and like what you can do with the context that you learn with history. I believe the two go hand in hand together.
At the same time as working at the People's Theater, you also have a following on social media, on Instagram, and you've used this platform to really engage with community organizations and also your own activism work. Can you tell me a little bit how you decided really to make your Instagram account, but not just have it be for personal use, but for a kind of a more powerful tool?
I think people feel like you need to be of a privileged background or wealthy in order to be able to do community work, but that's not the case. I think it actually helps you because you are aware of people's conditions and you are aware of their situations. So I think it just makes you more empathetic, and it actually helps you do a better work.
You've done a lot of work not only on Instagram, but on the ground, fundraising for disaster relief in El Salvador. Why was it still so important for you to feel connected to your roots in El Salvador and help the people that you had at home?
It actually started because of a Lehman program. There was something called Lehman Life. Something that I love about CUNY is that I see people that look like me. And having Lehman Life, it wasn't your stereotypical service trip that you see out there. It was people who looked like me, so that was really exciting for me to like have this as a possibility. So my first service trip that I did was to Puerto Rico when Hurricane Maria happened, and that gave me the tools. It gave me the tools to know that this is something that I can do.
And I know a lot of people want to get into community organizing and fundraising, but they don't know where to start. So where would you say is a good starting point?
So I just moved, and now I'm also looking to volunteer in my new area. So the first thing I did was I looked up the organizations around me, and then if there was a mission that I felt called to, I just reached out to them. They usually have the Volunteer With Us section in their webpage. You can always reach out. Organizations are always happy to get volunteers. I'll give a quick shout out. There's this organization that I have partnered with. It's called New York Cares, and it's like a database for volunteer work. So if you don't want to do, a lot of research, you can just go to their page, and you can even filter by location or by mission.
And I think all the work that you're doing here in New York City, but also for El Salvador, is incredible. And it was such a pleasure getting to speak with you today.
Thank you so much for having me.
To tell you the truth, I was not planning to become the CEO of Alum's Hospital. COVID got me really sick, and I ended up being in the emergency room. And so I was like, okay, God, I promise I'm gonna come back. And then 21 interviews later, I became the first woman and the first Latina to become its CEO. Unfortunately, my dad got really sick because he didn't have the right access to healthcare. He died 4 months later. I needed to be in that fight because I didn't want anyone else to lose their father because of paperwork. It's the power and the fire that makes me wake up every morning and say, how can I make healthcare better for the community and the 1.2 million people that Alum's Hospital serves every year? To my young CUNY graduates, don't give up. Give some time to your dreams, because no matter how big or how small, if you dedicate enough time to it, it will come true. I want more women and more people of color to represent leadership. I don't want to be the first. I want to be one of many.
Still up on Urban U, we kick the ball around with 2 CUNY stories inspired by the World Cup buzz. But first, a City College journalism student steps beyond the CUNY campus to sharpen their reporting skills with a story blending art and the environment.
I love the environment and I love raising awareness, so that's what I want to focus on.
Local Staten Island artist Donna Napoli Steele aspires to use her talents to educate and raise awareness about the environment. In her latest exhibit, What If? Flora, Fauna, and Fantasy, it accomplishes just that. The exhibit incorporates her own artwork and work from other artists whose pieces match the theme. This exhibit isn't the only one going on. A few houses over, the students of Notre Dame Academy High School are having an exhibition of their own.
I was raising their awareness of the environment. Following years, subsequent years, they now have their own show adjacent to mine with the same theme.
Donna, who teaches at Notre Dame, encourages her students in the art club to get creative with recycled materials and educating themselves on endangered species and conservation efforts.
I'm giving them an opportunity to do something that I don't think they'd get at any other schools. Usually I have them write up about their animal and why it's endangered, what their habitat is, and conservation efforts.
I love doing this. I enjoy doing this. It got me out of my comfort zone in a way, definitely as well.
Students appreciate Donna's passion and what she teaches them.
As a Total Art Club, we experiment with so much. There is so much that we want to get done. Sometimes it doesn't get done.
Natalie Mahoney, City College News.
For me, CUNY became my family. I was there every day for my classes. I met my friends at CUNY when I first came to this country. I started my career in sports through CUNY. It became family because it felt like one.
Lina Cruz knows the feeling of family well. The oldest of three, she came to New York City as a teenager and found a second home at CUNY. What makes her story stand out is how it became a family affair.
My aunt and uncle, they were already in New York. They were part of this amazing program at Hostos Community College. It was like the ESL intensive program.
Lina began at Hostos too. As she built her own success, her family members came one by one, taking advantage of the CUNY colleges and curriculums.
My cousin then went to do history in Hunter College, and then my sister went to do international business at Queens College. My parents, they also, at some point, they realized, hey, our daughters are there. Let's move to the U.S. with them. They went to LaGuardia Community College to learn English. My younger brother, he finished his high school here in Queens, and then he went to Queens College for his bachelor, and he recently graduated from Media and Digital Studies there. My uncle went to do economics at Hunter College. My aunt then went to Lehman College to do social work, and then she went to do her master's at Hunter College.
So what brought Lina to New York City as a teenager? She shares her story.
I was born and raised in Colombia, in South America. I grew up watching sports. My father was a professional soccer player and then became a professional soccer coach in Colombia. My mom, she was a track and field coach, bringing people to the Olympics. And I was in the track and field team with my mom as a coach. I represented Colombia a couple of times in race walking.
But when Lina didn't make it to the World Championship, she decided to pivot.
I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go to the United States. I'm going to learn English. My first few days, I was like, I would just sit down, look at the board, and write down everything that was on the board because I did not understand a word. One of the professors, she told the director, hey, I think you need to put her in a different program. She's not up to this level. And he's like, let's give her a chance. And at the end of the program, I was top student.
How did Lina go from not understanding a word to becoming the top student?
I did everything. I went to tutoring. I asked questions. I talked to the professors after class. I really wanted to excel.
And that's exactly what she did. Lina excelled. At student government, fundraising, she made the dean's list, student engagement, a medal recipient, and what turned out to be a life-changing internship.
Hostos did a partnership with the New York Yankees in which they wanted to find their first ever intern for the Latino Affairs Department. It was a very long interview process, and I got it.
The man who created the program that would launch Lina's career in sports was then Hostos president Felix Matos Rodriguez. Today, he's the chancellor of CUNY.
During that process, I also got to know him and kind of like get his advice on things. And I've stayed in touch with him through my years at the Yankees.
Lina's internship turned into a decade-long career with the Bronx Bombers.
When I graduated, they made me an offer to be a coordinator. Then I became the manager of the department. And then I started to lead all of the multicultural affairs, like programs, anything that had to do with the emerging markets, from like marketing, events, community outreach. I was across that.
While Lina's star continued to rise at the Yankees, she also continued her education, obtaining several degrees.
My associates in Hostos, then bachelor's at Baruch, then I got a certificate from Hunter, and then I went back to Baruch for my master's.
While Lina loved working for the Yankees, there was something else she wanted.
I want to be part of history. I want to be part of legacy. The Yankees, they already have a legacy. New York City Football Club started in 2015. When I saw the team, obviously I'm coming from Colombia, which is like, you know, soccer is a huge part of our like roots and like cultural, and I wanted to be part of that.
When an opportunity opened up, Lina reached out, and the rest is history. Today, Lina is New York City Football Club's Director of Partnership Marketing, and they're less than 2 years from opening the city's first soccer-specific stadium.
It's a very huge project. It's historical not only for the club, for the sport, but for the city.
Working in sports has turned out to be a family affair, too.
My sister currently does operations for FIFA. My brother, he is a goalkeeper coach. My mom, she is a coach for Queens College, cross country and track and field teams. My dad is a soccer coach at a charter school.
Lina's career in sports led to another career as well, as wife and mother, having met her husband, radio and TV personality, Rafael Bello, while working with the Yankees. Today, they have a beautiful 2-year-old daughter, Antonella, the start of the next generation. From the classroom to a career in sports and as a wife and mother, CUNY is where it all started for Lina Cruz and her family. A place that nurtured talent, fueled ambition, and opened the door for her entire family to thrive. For Urban U, I'm Linda Simidian.
Hi, I'm Cassidy Pong. I'm a sophomore majoring in corporate finance and a minor in BALA. I was selected for the Queens College Freshman Honors Program, and now I'm a current member of the QC Honors Program. I've worked hard maintaining my academic standing, earning a place on the Dean's List every semester. But beyond the classroom, another passion drives me: soccer. Being a student athlete on the Queens College women's soccer team has taught me time management, discipline, and resilience. Balancing a rigorous academic schedule with team workouts and team training is no easy task. Through it all, I've built lifelong friendships and have found a second family. Playing soccer at a collegiate level has been a dream of mine since I was a child. Thanks to my academic and athletic scholarships, that dream has now become a reality. These scholarships have given me financial security, allowing me to dedicate myself to my academic and athletic work. This year, however, presented an unexpected challenge. At the beginning of the season, I suffered a multi-ligament injury, sidelining me for the rest of the season. It was heartbreaking, but thanks to the support I've received, I've been able to fully focus on my recovery without the added burden. I've maintained my academic standing, and I am securing an internship for my junior year. My journey has been shaped by my parents, my biggest inspiration. My father, a second-generation Chinese American, has taught me the value of independence. My mother, a first-generation Burmese American and a proud CUNY graduate, has taught me the power of perseverance. She immigrated to this country in search of opportunity. Through her hard work and dedication, she's built a successful career in finance. Watching her navigate through financial challenges has inspired me to follow in her footsteps. Beyond academics and athletics, these scholarships have given my family the opportunity to rescue abandoned cats, something that we all really enjoy. So far, we've rescued 2 kittens and adopted 2 others. I've even started volunteering at North Shore Animal League, helping animals find their forever homes. This is time I wouldn't have if I had to worry about finances, and for that I am incredibly grateful. I know that none of this would be possible without the generosity of the donors who believe in students like me. Your support has not only given me the opportunity to pursue my academic and athletic dreams, but is also shaping the person I am becoming. Because of you, I can focus on my studies, recover from my injury, and prepare for a future in finance, all while giving back to a community that has given me so much.
That's our show. To support student voices and programming like this, please consider donating at tv.cuny.edu/donate. See you next time.